James, tell me how it's been. It must have been a long 3 months, or it must be a long 3 months.
Yeah, it's been long. It seems like I've been here for almost a year. We've had a lot of work. It's been working every day. A lot of people are in and out here pretty quick, but where I am right now, it's the real deal. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of fighting going on down where we are right now.
Tell me a little bit about your latest encounter.
Well, we were on an extraction mission to go help out another team that was deep into a village, trying to reclaim the village from the Russians. They went there without a drone and didn't know how many people were actually in there. They came under fire almost directly. We were back at about 6 kilometers back doing drone surveillance. I got the phone call to come up and said they needed help. So that's all the information we had. So we had to walk 6.5 kilometers down the trench filled with exploded mines. We had mortar fire on us, and every 20 feet there'd be a mortar shot at us or near us, just to try and stop us. We got close. We used our drone surveillance to move forward every couple hundred meters, just so we could see what was ahead of us. When we got up there, it was a pretty brutal battle. It was in a forest just before the village. One guy actually came in and pulled a body into the trench, and I looked up, and there was me and about our other 8 guys. Immediately returned fire. I hopped out of the trench with another guy, and we kept on suppressive fire and keeping the enemy back or down. As we were pulling everybody into the spillway, like I got to explain first how this land's laid out here. It's like 5-10 kilometer farm fields with these big concrete like water spillways, like kind of like culverts, but they're separating the fields. So as they were pulling the two guys that died up there into the trench, we noticed the Russians were moving forward. So myself and my other fire team were at the back and providing security while we started extracting the team with the injured and stuff. And so we came into direct contact with Russians. We thought, okay, there might not be that many, but it looked like there was a section or a company size. It was huge. They just kept coming. I kept firing back. We moved back on the rear to kind of provide that rear security. And as we were providing it, I looked over and my teammate got shot in the neck. Bullets were whistling over my head. Mortar fire still. We were under constant mortar fire. I grabbed him. I tried to pull him down as fast as I could, still under fire. Some guy ran back, grabbed my friend, and started dragging him up the trench. Let's go, go, go. But poor problem was he didn't make it. He bled out before we can get him back. And we were under constant heavy fire for about 4 kilometers straight down this trench with mortar fire and machine gun fire. And every time something moved in front of me, I had me and another partner, because they're narrow waterways. So I was only able to have 2 of us there to be effective fire on them. And they kept on coming in, and we kept on firing. And I thought it would never end. They just kept on piling in, and we kept on firing back. And it ended up being, we got to about 4 kilometers back. They stopped, thank God. And I didn't know if I was hit. I didn't know if I had shrapnel injuries. I was just soaked from sweating and trying to just keep firing. So I was watching our back and watching down the trench for more people to come. We got closer and closer to our set of lines, and also we started hearing mortar fire again. But the mortar fire actually this time was coming from our side. So I think what had happened, our drones kind of scared them off a little bit and held them back, and then our mortars started to come in and help us give us support. On the way through, I didn't see anybody else, but throughout the line, we lost 8 people in total. About 4 to 6 people got injured with shrapnel. On the way back, we got everybody out of the trench. Like I said, it was the longest walk of my life. It felt like a 2-day walk. I couldn't even think. I was just too busy worried about what was coming behind us. We finally got back to our spot with all the bodies and all the injured. We were able to extract them out of the trench and move the bodies, tend to the injured people. And after that, I almost dropped of exhaustion. And yeah.
So tell me about it again. The numbers. There was how many of you going into, do I say rescue? So many, and then so many got hurt. Like it was.
Well, we had 8 people going in. to save. I think there was 10 or 11 people there, minus the 2 when we got there. So to be honest with you, this wasn't a regular mission. This mission here was just a hasty attack that we were trying to deter the enemy from taking over the village, which was unsuccessful. So like I said, after all that, it was hard to deal with. I'm still shaking because that was only a couple of days ago. But I took all my equipment off, and one guy looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" I had blood on my hands, blood on my pants, blood everywhere, and I was checking myself. And I looked at him. I said, "Am I okay? Am I okay?" And he, "Yeah, you're fine." So I don't know how I made it without a scratch, but there's videos. Like I said, I've taken videos. You've seen the videos, Pete, of us on friendly lines there. We're dragging people back, and it's a real thing. That was the hardest fight I've had yet. It's getting to the point now where it's going to get tougher and tougher where we are. We're not really in a good spot.
And if I can speak, and if you can, obviously don't. But I mean, like we said, and like you mentioned, it's for people that don't know war, that just read about it. This is somewhat of a drone war.
If you don't have drone surveillance, you can't do anything. The drones are capable. We have drones that are just small, like children's drones that can actually carry small grenades and missiles and bombs with them. And the problem is both sides have them. So in our landscape where we are, you can't hide anywhere. It's impossible to move at night. You can't. You can plan all you want for war and all this stuff, but this is a war you could not prepare for, because a lot of times Canadian soldiers, we move at night. You couldn't do that here. There's too much thermal, too many snipers. The drone surveillance is unreal. There's drone traffic every day, everywhere. I know they know where we are right now, but we know where they are right now. So it really is a chess match. Kind of just wait and shoot. It's really hard to make an advance. Really hard to push forward. We're just kind of waiting for our opportunity to ourselves to either get out or push forward, because we're like I said, we're in a pretty tight spot here. Starting to get a little more scarier, a lot more, because our surveillance can tell how much the Russians are mobilizing, as well as they can do that with us. These small villages in between where we are, they're about 5 to 10 kilometers apart, and it seems like we push forward, we help take a village back, and then they push back, and it's just one after the other. Our goal is to get to a certain city and retake that city, but we're having a rough time when it comes down to this kind of stuff. It's really hard to kind of imagine how
You were saying a day or two ago that how, I don't know the words, repugnant, just how brutal these people are, the Russians. Just you were saying, if you can, when you go into these villages, you hear stories about what the Russians or whoever has done.
Well, like I said, I was a little biased at the start, because there's fake media on both sides. But you talk, actually talking to these village people that are in the villages that have been preoccupied by the Russians. They get tortured, they get not fed, they get. When I say tortured, I guess I've told you a few things, Pete. I don't know if I can say it on here, but it comes to the extent where it's brutalized. It's absolutely awful. It's to the point where it's more or less genocide. These locals are finding their family members days later in the field. They're torturing them to the point where if they don't do what they say, they've been like really, really awful tactics. And I really can't. I don't really want to say too much about it, but it is a real thing. I didn't think it was until you actually are able to communicate with these locals. These guys are legit. I don't know if it's the Russian soldiers, or I don't know if it's the Chechens, the Syrians, whatever. These people are just are horrible. They locked a few people in a small bomb shelter without food and water for almost 7 days. We came in, pushed in, we actually let them out, and they were happier than happy to see us. We fed them. They are the one who were telling the story. The one spoke real well English. His daughter and his wife got raped. There's stories they were telling us about using hot spoons on skin and inserted in certain places. It is a real thing. I can't even imagine. We've heard other stories from other villages as well. It's really tough. It's really tough to hear, but then again, it's a job. I got to keep doing this, because otherwise we're not gonna be able to do anything. So it's, like I said, that was the hardest time in my life, right there. That was
I wanted to emphasize in what you said before, for people that are hearing this for the first time. You don't know anybody there. You you're not Ukrainian yourself. So you went there because?
Well, I believe in life. It really, it's just something I couldn't sit and watch. I'm glad I'm here. I feel I've already done a good job. I've already saved lives. Well, I've already trained a few soldiers on how to move, and I think I've done a lot of good down here, and everybody appreciates me down here, which is a good thing. And they do have my back because they know I have their back. Everything is taken to heart. I do bring a lot of morale to the team because a lot of them never seen stuff like this before. Even on this last mission, there was some new people. And I'd say I've already been in a few firefights, but this one was a new mission for a couple new guys, and you can't prepare for something like that. They had to really get them to move, get them to feel confident, and say like, look, it's a job. We're gonna make it out, and we did.
You said before that some people that are coming there aren't trained for it, and they're more or less a hazard than a help.
Well, I thought that at the very start, but the problem is that there's not enough trained soldiers. There's people willing to jump in, and they do. They come in with minimal training, but the problem is a lot of these good soldiers, they're dying. There's saying hundreds of Ukrainians dying a day, not a week, not a month. Where we are down here, I can see why you can't make an advance without mortar fire. Like I said, I lost a really good friend.
In this last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. They
Right.
So what's is it just the area you're in? Like, in other words, is it good news elsewhere? Like, what is it? And like,
Well, good news. I've heard some good news. I've been in contact with a couple people from Canada, specifically Spencer Fraser. He's helped me out with a little bit of logistics when it comes down to stuff that actually Canada is sending down, and he's pretty upset about some of the stuff. I've sent him some pictures and some intel of what we've got sent down here from Canada, and it's some good, some bad. But a lot of the news that I've seen down there, it's lies. It's just for political gain. A lot of the stuff isn't even useful. So,
and sorry, that's in Canada?
Yeah, it's in Canada, and like I wouldn't have believed it, but now that I've been in contact with a couple of guys down here that are trying to expose the government for not being transparent about this, because it's one thing after the other. They're sending stuff that's useless, old, and they're spending money on buying ammunition from other countries. What's the point? It's just one extra step. It's almost like they want to justify spending that $500 million in military aid when we already have stuff we can donate. I know we have stuff we can donate that's going to be useful. But like you say, you hear it all the time in the news, and you're actually down here and you see it. You don't really see the stuff that they say that they're giving. And if it is here, it's not where I am. And I'm in one of the hottest areas right now. So
propaganda on both sides.
it is on both sides. The States have been delivering a lot of stuff, but not in enough time. We're at a point now where we're running out of ammo daily. We're in a spot where we can't get any ammo delivered to us. So we're really rationing what we have to be effective, because it's not going to be an easy fight to get out of here or an easy fight to move forward until we get our reinforcements.
You've got other soldiers from Canada there, or I guess, should I ask, are they soldiers, and like you've got them from other countries, or are soldiers from other countries there as well?
There is the Foreign Legion is a different. I actually am a part of the Ukrainian. I got my citizenship. I'm actually a part of the Ukrainian military. Because of the manual I made on how to move in section attacks and stuff. So they really took that to heart. Like literally, when I was before we stepped off to go here, we were training every day in that style, and already I've had people thank me, pat me on the back, say thank you. It's something, because they didn't have anything before. Like I said, these guys are new. They don't have time to train. They get pushed to the front lines as fast as they can because there's that many people dropping on a daily basis. It's tough. It's like I said, it's a reality now. We are doing good, but it's just a lot of the foreign people that get sent here, they don't realize it. And you gotta understand this. If you join the wrong group, because there's so many private militaries, you get sent to the front lines to draw mortar fire. You will not shoot your weapon. You will be bait. That's what they're doing with a lot of the foreigners. Now, that's not to say that they're doing it on purpose. That's just the spot they put them because they don't trust. They don't know, right? You got to kind of make your own. There's a lot of small SSO groups, special forces groups that'll take you, but they're not going to use you way you think. A lot of people come down here and think that, I'm going to be a cowboy and I'm going to go shoot some Russians. Well, no, that's not the case. Sometimes you got I've talked to people haven't even shot their AK aim yet. You get in these situations that we are in right now. We're in a different team. We do clean and sweep, and we do reconnaissance. And they won't just put anybody and their dog in there to do that. They'll have people that are actually half trained and actually can work together. We've been really effective. We've done a lot of stuff when it comes to locations of the enemy's equipment and stuff, and we're able to dial that into our mortar teams, and they push forward and destroy everything they can. The really bad part is the civilians that are still around here that can't get out. They couldn't leave to begin with. I asked the civilian there in the village the other day. I said, "Why didn't you leave?" You couldn't afford it. They had no money. A lot of the money, like I said, I've heard people, rich Ukrainians, coming as refugee status over to Canada, and usually the rich, that people that got out of there quick, is you had to pay. It is a little bit of corruption at the border, more so on Poland side than the Ukrainian side. But if you have enough money and you're a part of a right family, you'll get out of here. I noticed a lot of people there. One guy I know, I actually did research before I came down to this spot. I looked through him, and he was part of a rich family down here. Actually, some people actually know him, and they're mad as hell because there's guys here that are 65 years old fighting. They have kids and family, and they're in a different country. They stayed. You have 15-year-old kids here shooting a weapon or sitting on a spot to draw fire to help their country out. And then you go and you hear about some of these people. I understand some people can't fight and they're not fighters, but these guys aren't either. They had no choice. So when people don't have a choice, it's kind of sad. You have other people that have money that can get out. It's just horrible. So
what I was going to mention something. So people, so you were going into one area and the village was flattened. Like you were going, like, talk about that. You were going into one area to sort of save it, but it was flattened by the time you got there, if I got that right.
Yeah, we were there today. We were just basically coming close to a village to get another one of our teams out of there because the Russians were advancing. But we got close to the village, it was just smoke. We got eyes on the tree line and looked around. There's probably about 2 buildings standing left in that small village. So we didn't go. We didn't even go in there because no radio contact, and we didn't know how many people were in there. We flew our drone surveillance. We couldn't see anything, but there was nobody surviving that. That was just purely flattened. Small villages are all over the place down here in this area. And they say it's pretty tough to swallow. Like you said, I have my good days, I have my bad days, but most recently it's been a couple of bad days. So
for sure. So is there anything we can do for you? You mentioned before about stuff like, is there anything that, I don't know how we could get it to you, but I mean, what can people watching this do?
Well, if you're going to send anything to anybody, make sure you send it to the right people. There is a lot of units. There's a couple of contacts that I got that make sure this stuff or product or anything gets to the right people. A lot of corruption at the border when stuff shows up. We've already had stuff stolen and sold to the highest bidder. I hate to say it, but that is a reality down here a lot. We were expecting new helmets and plates for these guys before we left. Problem is, they go missing at the border. So I don't know. Like me, for myself, I'm just worried about my mom. My family.
Yeah.
Bills back home are starting to get a little high, but I'm working the problem every day. My mom's doing the best she can. I got to get. I was supposed to come home on the 22nd, but I don't think I'll be leaving here anytime soon. It all depends on what happens in the next few weeks.
So you're. So again, I know this might be a goofy question, but why are you staying now then when you're supposed to come home?
Well, that was my flight was booked for that date. We were in a good situation before. We were on the advance pushing forward. Everything looked good, but everything changed in seconds, minutes, days. It's just everything changes so fast that now we're in a spot now that we're not really, we can't really move at all. We can't move forward. We can't move back. It's going to be a tough one here. It all depends on what happens. If we get mobilized and we can get the right support down here and the manpower, then we can probably get out. But it's not looking all that great right now. We're pretty surrounded right now. But like I said, they probably know where we are. We know where they are. It's just a waiting game, and then move, and then wait, and then move. We never stay in the same spot for more than a day or two. So we'll probably move tomorrow to a different part of the village or different village altogether. moving to other villages is scary because you don't know where the snipers are. You don't know these small tree lines. You don't know if there's tanks, BMPs. That's why we have these drones. These drones are our eyes, 4 to 5 kilometers ahead of us to make sure that there's nobody there. And right now, we've looked and done our drone surveillance, and they're pretty much on every tree line from here to the next village. So we don't know what's going to happen.
What can I say how many are with you roughly?
Yeah, we got a full squad. We got about 10, and then specialty guys. We got a couple specialty drone guys, a couple snipers, guys that know and are effective at what they do. That's why we got sent in here. We got sent in here because we all have a skill set that we can provide. Now, mind you, that all goes out the window when bullets start going over your head. I notice that now. A lot of these guys, they're not ready. I wasn't ready my first time. Now I'm still not ready, but I know what I have to do to stay alive. So
Yeah.
it's you got to not focus on one target. You got to focus on multiple targets.
What's your greatest fear? Like, is it running out of ammo? Obviously, it's dying, but I mean, what's your greatest fear?
Well, yeah, the ammo thing is going to be scary because I don't know what's going to happen there. We got enough to do our job. We can't go on too many actual missions right now because if we expend our ammo right now, then we're not going to have any. But we don't know if they can get any more to us. So that's pretty scary. We are pretty well packed up right now. We have enough here to do some major damage on certain vehicles, certain tanks. We have some I can say it. I guess we have some Stingers, some MLAs, some Javelins. RPGs. We do have stuff, but we just don't want to use it right now because we use it and we expend it all. Then we don't have any other big firepower. And we don't know when the next time it's going to come. So
and not to exact, but I mean, can I say what part of the country you're in?
Yeah. I'm down in the south somewhere. We'll say.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
The East is having some issues right now. I know that, but they really don't focus on the news on what's happening down here. Don't really want to give too much away, but it's not. It's a lot of the Western world news right now isn't too on point. We'll just say that.
Okay. Yeah. Let me stop recording.